Welcome back to our presentation on game user interface design. This is the lesson 2 for the game user interface design. You need to watch the previous videos. Before that, a little bit of advertisement of our services. Just etc.net, its software and web development service and the corresponding consulting, maintenance, training service. University.justetc.org, our online and offline courses. mall.justetc.org, online shop. computer.justetc.net, it's the training videos and short notes on different IT topics. Okay, what about innovative user interface design? I think innovation is almost always good, and in all aspects of game design, like a new theme, a new game world, innovative storytelling, innovative art, innovative sound, and innovative gameplay. However, you should not innovate unnecessarily when it comes down to innovative user interface. I think sound, this is also part of the user interface. Art, this is also part of the interface. Yeah, you can also keep in mind those things. So one of the thing, if you try to innovate in terms of assigning the different buttons to different controllers and keyboard keys, I think this is not a very good place to innovate. 5. Over the years, most type of games have evolved a practical set of feedback elements, whether taking the feedback from the player or displaying some sort of feedback to the player. They have also evolved control mechanisms suited to their own gameplay. So what can you do? Maybe you can play some games in your genre or the type of game you're designing, the similar genre games, and you can pay special attention to the games that are widely admired and treated to be the best in that category. So you can watch, you can try to notice their user interface design. Most probably the user interface design of those games also help them to secure that reputation. So adopt whichever of them is appropriate for your game. If you want to offer a new user interface for a familiar problem, the people already have common sense, or people playing of that type of game are usually familiar with one sort of user interface, but you are trying to give a new user interface. So what you can do, you can build a prototype, you can build a tutorial level, and then you can test them with novice and experienced players. You can get feedback from them and analyze those feedbacks, and you have to see if it has made any substantial improvement or not in terms of user interface and player entertainment or player interaction with the game. If it has improved substantially, so you can stick together to your new user interface. If not, you can go backwards. And another option can be, you can keep both of the options, your new innovative user interface and the more traditional way of user interface, and you can allow the player to select the user interfaces or allow him or her to customize that user interface. So some general principles of user interface design. You have to be consistent. It can be the artistic element of the game or operational element of the game. You should be consistent throughout the game. You should be used consistently the different types of fonts, typefaces and colors, something like that. If you offer different actions in different gameplay modes, I think you should assign the same type of buttons or controllers for same type of actions. So it's about consistent. Give feedback, good feedback to the player. When the player plays or does something or takes some action, he actually wants some sort of feedback from the game. It can be even an acknowledgement. So you can also give proper audible response in case the key is not assigned to any activity, still you can say some sort of error warning or something like that. Or when the player presses a button on the screen, maybe it can temporarily change its color or its depth, something like that. Remember that the player is the one in control. When the player plays the game, he wants to be in charge of the game and of the player, of the avatar character. You should not randomly, you should not let the avatar or the player character do some random things that the player does not want. Maybe you can once in a while give some randomness to the other characters, non-player characters in the game or in the game world, some certain event or certain characteristics, but you really should not move or control the player. The player should be in control. Limit the number of steps required to take an action. I think at one moment to take an action, I think usually it's 3 key press that players are usually comfortable with. So you should limit the number of key presses you assign for a particular action. Maybe for action games, and if you want to combine multiple moves, maybe you can give more options. I think the experienced players may enjoy this, but you need to think about keep this in mind, so that players don't like to do so many stuff at one time to take some actions. Permit easy reversal of actions. Maybe in some cases you may allow, if the user or the player does some mistake, he or she can reverse that action. But you also should keep in mind the game balance, because if he or she does the mistakes again and again, you are allowing them all the time, the other player, if it's a multiplayer game, it may not have, or if there is an opponent, it may not sound fair. So you also have to keep the game balance in mind. What you can do, you can give a limited number of reversal allowance. Yeah, if it exceeds, then maybe no more. And you also should minimize physical stress. I think in many cases player has to use their fingers or thumbs to play the game. So if you have some repeated action for the game, maybe you can assign that action to a key that's easier to press, something like that. Don't strain the player's short-term memory. Players don't want to remember everything. Maybe if he is playing level 10, he should not be keeping some information in memory for the level 1. Or also you can give him some sort of lookup option so that he can remember. Group related screen-based controls and feedback mechanisms on the screen. I think the controls that are supposed to provide similar type of input actions or output actions, you can group them together. It can be in the input device. If the actions are pretty similar, assign them to the adjacent keys or buttons, something like that. If it is in the screen of the console or the computer, maybe the icons or the menu options, you can group the action icons, those perform the similar type of actions. And when players will be experienced with the game, they may not like to use your menus and go multiple levels of menu to take some sort of action. Maybe you can provide some keyboard shortcuts so that they can flexibly operate the game. I think it adds values to the entertainment part, so that they don't feel bored just finding out different menu commands, or go through menus and find out what they need to do. Okay, wait for the next lesson.